Hi, welcome to episode 11 of the Weekly Wave. I'm Matthew Lyons.
I'm Aaron Johnson.
And our guest here today is English teacher, Mr. Matthew Cutter. How are you, Mr. Cutter?
I am good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
All right. Yeah, it's a good day. Nice
It's a good
Wednesday. All right. So we brought you here to discuss the recent controversy over an MCAS question. And so recently on the 10th grade ELA MCAS test, students were required to read a passage from the Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. After reading the passage, students were given a prompt to write a perspective of a woman named Ethel, the wife of an Underground Railroad conductor. Throughout the book, Ethel was portrayed as an openly racist character. The DESE, or Department of Education and Secondary Education, underwent a lot of scrutiny due to the fact of having students write in a racist fashion. They since have taken the question off the quiz and stated that they will not score the question.
That was a lot.
I know,
Good
lots to
job
take through.
with that,
I feel like one of those people on, like the ads or like on TV when like they talk really fast
Oh,
after.
yeah.
like
if you take
mesothelioma.
so-and-so, you might get...
that's
yeah.
a disease, but whatever.
All right, so
All right.
what are your reactions to this?
My reaction is that obviously it was a horrible move on the
Yeah.
Department of Education's part to frame, to even, not necessarily to have a question about this novel. That's not where the issue lies.
Yeah.
We need more contemporary literature, and we need more literature that speaks to issues that we're having now, right? But the way they framed it just completely destroys any credibility they could have possibly had as people that make tests for English literature.
Yeah.
The whole thing's just a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And we actually underwent this.
We
'Cause-
did, yeah.
And at first, I didn't really think it was racist. I thought she was just kind of had like a sternness to her voice. You guys can go check it out. But to me, it didn't really come off racist. But when you kind of go back through, and then the entire novel, she is portrayed as extremely racist. But in that certain section, she didn't really seem it. So I don't know.
I disagree with you. I did think she was racist, and my problem with it wasn't reading it. It was writing the response to it, because I wanted to say things because I was like getting into her mindset and what she would actually say. So I'd type something because it was on the computer, and then I'd backspace and say like, well, I can't say that, it's a test, and I'd write something else and go like, well, I shouldn't say that. It kind of messed with me a little bit. Yeah.
All right, I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
As an English teacher, you really come up with a bunch of prompts. And so do you feel the removal and invalidation of this horrible question was enough to justify the decision to add the question in the first place? Do you want me to reword that?
So you mean the removal of the question?
Was it enough
Do you think it's enough to make up for the fact that they put
Yes.
it on there? No. I mean, I think they need to own their mistake, and they need to apologize for it, and then they need to seriously explain how that happened.
Right.
Because when you look at stuff like this, and we think about especially racism now in the United States, it's taking on different forms. And you guys say how you didn't see that Ethel, at least Aaron did, that you didn't get racism from her like 100%. And that's because the character she's not out there lynching black people in the book.
Yeah.
What she is doing is portraying herself and her relationship with black people in the sort of like white savior way. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she thinks of them as less than her. And that's where the racism comes in. And to have people get into her mind on a test, as even the author of the book said, it's completely misplaced.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
point of the novel was to sympathize and empathize with the people who are being victims.
Exactly.
And to force you to empathize with a character who is not a good person.
Yeah.
It completely, I don't know, it ruins the entire point of what Whitehead was trying to get across with his work
Yeah.
and his art. So if I were him, I'd be upset, and I know he is.
Yeah.
I feel like especially since we're sophomores, like if they were to ask someone who's a lot older, who like has not a fixed mindset, but more of a fixed mindset,
Yeah.
but like as sophomores, we're still growing and developing, coming up with our own ideas.
Yeah.
So to ask that and like kind of get into that sort of mindset, it kind of doesn't really sit
It's
well
a
with me.
really weird thing to ask kids
Yeah.
to do in the first place. And it's weird that it didn't raise any red flags.
Yeah.
How did you guys kind of already explained how you felt, but what did you ultimately end up writing as an answer? I'm just curious.
All right, so I think we definitely wrote differently.
Yeah.
For me, I wrote little like blips in her mind about like she needs to like really be serious about this, because I didn't really see like a full-on racist in with the text in the excerpt. So I was just kind of be like don't screw around. You gotta do this. You gotta make sure you don't get found. But from further understanding of the book, I've seen that she's actually racist, and so I don't. If that was score, I don't think I would have got it right. But
I like for the first half, I did what you did. I kind of said like, look, this is serious. Like you need to like shut your mouth, don't talk.
yeah,
And then in the second paragraph, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Because we were supposed to write a journal entry from her perspective, and I said like, this is terrible. Like I shouldn't be doing this. This isn't my place. Why am I helping her? She's lower than me.
yeah.
I kind of went on with that.
The question really made students think racistly. Well, at least write. In order to get a good grade on that, you'd have to write racistly, because that's who she was. So
Right.
it was just an awful question.
Yeah.
And they
Not-
could have
not
gone
cool.
so many other ways. They could have gone so many other ways to represent that novel,
Yeah.
because it is a really cool novel. It just came out like 3 or 4 years ago. I forget when it was published. I got it for Christmas from like my girlfriend's grandmother, because I'm a big Colson Whitehead fan. And it's a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a sci-fi fantasy novel that imagines the Underground Railroad being like a legitimate railroad running underneath the South. And it's really cool how he can sort of take science fiction aspects and really seriously explore race in the United States and in our lives through them. And that's just what upsets me about the question in general. They could have had you write from any other character's
Yeah.
perspective and
Yeah.
really represent that novel for what it was trying to say. And instead, that's what they chose. And it makes me even wonder if they have professionals with
Yeah.
English degrees who study literature for a living coming up with these questions, or
Yeah.
like who's even writing these questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if they understood that who she was, then they wouldn't have gave that at all.
Right.
So whoever
Yeah.
really made up that question wasn't educated enough to be making questions.
As sophomores, we've read like All Souls, and we focused on Southie and how that was under oppression, and it eventually rose up. And like in this book, I imagine it was focused on the slaves and overcoming slavery. So why would they ever have us go against what we've learned and focus on the oppressor rather than the oppressee?
Yeah, the entire main story in that book focuses on one particular female slave. She's in her like mid to late 30s. She's relatively young, and throughout the entire book, she is trying to escape not only slavery, but a very traumatic rape that happened to her too in her past, and it deals very seriously with those issues from her perspective, and those would have been getting into her head and really understanding a character like that would have had so much more value.
Yeah,
It's sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like this is our last year of English MCAS, and we just ended on a sour note. I mean, it's not fun to begin with, but like to end on that, like it.
And especially since that's taken off, everything gets shifted. So now the questions are worth more, and everything's worth more. So it really just, I don't know, we're not getting our true grade, I believe.
And that brings up the fact that a lot of people are calling for just disregarding the results of the test outright, because if you were traumatized by this question, or if you had some serious emotional issues writing from that point of view, it's going to affect the way you perform on the rest of the test. There's no
Right.
doubt about it.
Yes.
So, is it fair to even count the entire test? Is the major question.
Because it was in the beginning. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think this whole backlash will impact the future of standardized testing?
Well, I hope they improve their question writing process. If ultimately we're going to keep standardized tests as the way we decide whether kids have the skills to go into the real world, which is, I guess, the point of a standardized test, then they should really seriously take a look at the way they're making the questions and the review process, and not let stuff like this happen at a very basic level. Because I don't think standardized tests are going to go away, sadly. So they need to figure it out.
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for coming on to talk about it. It's
Yeah.
been awesome.
Let me rep Colson Whitehead one more time. This is my favorite Colson Whitehead book. Is that the camera?
Yeah.
It's called Zone 1. It's a zombie apocalypse novel
Ooh.
that I read in
Nice.
college. And the most fascinating thing about it is he takes something like a zombie apocalypse and he really makes you think about the way we treat the zombies, which is fascinating. Because throughout the book, there are many different characters who just treat the zombies like disposable, like they weren't human once, and they talk about them as if they're just that that they're props, right? That they can sort of just destroy or do whatever they need to with. And he kind of uses that to frame the way that we kind of push not just black people in this country, but anyone who'd we consider another, right? We kind of push them aside the same way these people are doing with the zombies, and we don't actually think about what could be causing this, how do we fix it. They just kill them. It's a fascinating way to approach the whole zombie genre. So he's a good author.
Awesome.
And I'm glad he was on the test. It's just a shame that this had to be the conversation.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
Hi, welcome back to AJ's A-List. I'm Aaron. I'm here to talk to you about March Madness. Now, recently this Sunday, the Virginia Cavaliers, or UVA, won over Texas Tech 85-77 in an overtime nail-biter. Took a little bit to get that one out.
Yeah, sorry.
DeAndre Hunter and Kyle Guy, both with really strong performances. DeAndre leading the team with 27 points, 9 rebounds. Kyle Guy with 24 points with really strong performances. It was an awesome game to watch. One thing I really want to point out is Virginia's ability to be clutch in the last seconds of a fourth quarter. Now, Purdue, Auburn, and Texas Tech, they all faced in the Sweet 16, and they were trailing them each time. With Purdue, it was like 20 seconds and trailing by 3. Auburn, they were trailing by 3. They were always trailing by 3. And Texas Tech would hit a clutch 3 or get fouled on a 3 and hit all the shots to win the game. It was honestly, Virginia had a great season. They honestly deserve it after losing to a 16th seed last year. That's all.
You know what that means. It's time for movie time with Matt. Once again, we will be looking at the box office. In first place, is Shazam, which grossed $53 million.
Great movie.
It was a great movie. More on that in a bit. Second place was Pet Sematary, which grossed $24 million.
They made a movie for that?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a remake, actually, because they had one in 19-something. Yeah.
All right.
I've heard mixed things about that, though.
Yeah.
So, number 3 was Dumbo, which grossed $18 million. And number 4 was Us, which grossed $13 million. And number 5 was still Captain Marvel, which grossed another $12 million.
Hopefully they made live-action Dumbo cute. Because I feel like a live-action elephant would not look that good.
From what I saw in the trailers, I wasn't too thrilled with it. But it's got Danny DeVito in it.
It does?
And Michael Keaton, yeah. So
Awesome.
And Colin Farrell, so. And also, the trailer for The Lion King came out today, and that looks way cuter than Dumbo did. In other movie news, Avengers Endgame pre-sale tickets went on last Tuesday, I believe, and they broke the internet. So many people flooded AMC websites to get their tickets early that the website crashed.
Wow.
Yeah, I was actually sitting in Spanish class trying to get them, and I could not get in. The whole period I kept refreshing, and it would not let me in, and finally it did, and then it kicked me out again. But also, trailer for Joker, directed by Todd Phillips and starring Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, dropped, and it was incredible. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
Why not? I've been telling you in this entire week to watch it.
All right, right. Get to your movie review.
All right, whatever. Yeah. Also, my movie recommendation of the week is, can we get a drum roll, please? Shazam. This was number
Kinda
one at the box.
spoiled
Yeah, we did. Aaron and I were fortunate enough this week to get a early press screening for the movie, courtesy of John Vitti.
Thank you, John.
Thanks again. It was a great movie. It really was. It had a lot of heart. It was very funny. Great action, relatable characters. It was really good. It was directed by David F. Sandberg and starred Zachary Levi, Jack Dylan Grazer, and Mark Strong. And everybody really did great in the movie. And you could tell when watching it that it was made with a lot of care by people who really understood and loved the universe that they were creating.
So go see Shazam in theaters now.
Thanks for watching. Tune in 2 weeks from now to see an all-new episode of The Weekly Wave.
Sadly, Matt and I will be in Costa Rica and it's school vacation. But make sure to follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Green Wave Gazette.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.